Hello, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, wickers, wickets. How you guys doing? Ooh, I just finished up some yummy ramen. I ate it a little too fast. Give me a moment. Who's coming on today? Whoever wants. It's a call-in show, so it's pretty open. I'm gonna kind of like rant a little first, but yeah, I clicked the Discord link. Here, I'll give it to you guys on Twitch too. You click the Discord link. It should be pinned in the YouTube chat. You accept the rules by clicking on my face emoji. You jump backstage. It's at the top of the server. And when I'm ready, I'll pull you in. That's what was going on. We're going to have some call-ins today. It should be fun. If you have issues with anything I've said or done in the last few weeks, it's been a while since we had a call-in show, right? So there should be a lot of people who are like, oh, you wick, you're doing a bad, right? Or maybe you want to praise me. That's okay too. Either way, we got a lot to talk about today. I want to dive into it. I want to get all the thoughts out of my head. Okay, just no thoughts. Just beautiful, beautiful silence. I've been worried. I think that the fundamentals show we are, and by we I mean the Democrats, the Democratic Party, is favored to win the House 230, maybe 240 seats, right? A good showing. Senate, I'm confident. I'm bullish on Texas. I'm bullish on Ohio. And frankly, I'm bullish on Alaska as well. I think we can get 51, gang. I think we can get 51. I'm feeling it. But I'm worried. And I'll tell you why. Okay. There was a Supreme Court ruling, okay, that just came down yesterday, I believe. Let me show you guys. Give me a moment. It's from an AP News article, which we're going to read. The Supreme Court has cleared the way for President Trump's executive order restricting mail-in voting ahead of midterms. So I want to get into it. I want to go over it. And I want to talk about why this matters and why it is concerning. Again, the fundamentals is on our side. We have poll after poll after poll, election result after election result after election result. Morale is up in the Democratic Party and it's down in MAGA. I know a lot of MAGA people who are just exhausted by politics. Like, they're normally in there fighting the good fight, right? Arguing with me. They don't want to defend Trump, right? They're tired of it. They're exhausted. They're demoralized. They're likely to stay home in the midterms. But here we are, just a few months out, and this is what they're trying to do. They're going to try to play some fucky-wucky games, legalese-wise, and try to restrict who can and cannot vote, to try to fuck with it. So we're going to read the article, and then we're going to talk about it. And that's what we're going to start with, okay? We're also going to, don't worry, we're going to get to the Hasan Piker stuff too. But I want to start with this because again, it's something that we should be aware of, and you should be making preparations so that if what Trump wants to implement does go in place, that you're still able to vote, right? So if you normally do a mail-in ballot, but these kinds of issues go into place, then you need to prepare other avenues to vote, right? Like whether go in person, early voting, something, right? And I think that you need to start prepping that now. Hopefully, the injunction that's still in place, like, so just to give you a TLDR, what Trump wants to do, he signed an executive order that would forbid the USPS, right, the United States Postal Service, from delivering ballots, right, mail-in ballots, unless they are on an approved list of voters' rolls, right, an approved list of voter rolls. And this would be handled by the federal government. Okay, so the federal government would take care of this, not the states. It would be a way of federalizing these things. And again, like, one of the things that the Republicans will do before midterms, and they've done in different states before, is they'll purge voter rolls. And they'll knock off everyone they can possibly do, right? And they'll claim, oh, this person's probably dead. Oh, this person's probably an illegal immigrant or not properly registered. They'll find any way they can to knock as many people off as they can, right? If Trump were to get access to this and his executive order were to go into place, it would give him enormous power to influence these things. And that's not good. What the exact effect would be, I'm not sure. But it's something that even if it wouldn't have that much effect, we should rail against the federalization of elections. There's good reason to decentralize our election system. It makes it harder for bad actors to fuck with it. It's one of the strengths of the American electoral system. So let's read the article and let's talk about it. Okay. Can you guys see? Do you need a little bigger for you guys? Okay. The Supreme Court opened a path Monday for possible implementation of President Donald Trump's executive order restricting mail-in voting, though it remains unclear how much can be put in place before the fast-approaching midterm elections. The decision leaves room for additional court challenges that could further slow Trump's order, and other similar cases have already been filed. The U.S. Postal Service laid out how it would implement the order last week, but time is running short to impose major changes. North Carolina is sending out ballots September 4th overseas and to military voters, and other states will quickly follow suit in just a few weeks. The Supreme Court's conservative majority didn't decide the legality of Trump's order, instead ruling that states who sued did not have the legal right to challenge it. So this was knocked down on standing. They were said that they don't have the standing to challenge the legality of this order. A few states brought suit. There was a TRO issued, an injunction issued to stop this. And this overturns that injunction, but it does not rule on the legality of the executive order. Still, without a ruling on the legality of the executive order, it's something that they possibly can start implementing. There is another injunction in place that hasn't been ruled on yet. So it's not dire yet, is what I got to stress to you. It's not dire yet. They cannot do this yet. But it is one more obstacle removed from them being able to implement this. Does that make sense? While the emergency order is not final, it does have the potential to create chaos around voting across the country, with Trump often questioning the integrity of elections in the nation's highest court, again, the possible arbiter of a political controversy. The court's disposition of this application does not mean that any measure taken by the government to implement the order will necessarily be lawful. On that score, time will tell, the majority wrote in an unsigned order. The three liberal-leaning justices publicly dissented, with Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson writing that the rule lets another shoe drop in the Kafkaesque nightmare that our precedents have been steadily creating for certain plaintiffs who seek to bring election-related challenges. What are your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen? What do you think about this? It's worrisome. It's something we should be concerned of. There's this duality to the Trump and MAGA strategy here, right? So one of the things that Trump does constantly is challenge the integrity of elections that he doesn't like. Famously, he did this in January 6th, right? He's like, the election was stolen, it was rigged, right? And this is rhetoric that he has put out into the zeitgeist, and he has made real in a way that it wasn't before. Look, for my entire life, there's been accusations. People I know have said, well, that election, it seems rigged. It seems stolen. But they were just like rank and file voter people, right? Pundits on occasion. The first real time a politician has ever kind of lended credence to that style of politicking, that style of rhetoric, has been Donald Trump. He was the one that made it kind of something that everyone adopted. He made it more credible by being a major political figure who engaged in that rhetoric. And a lot of people hopped on it, right? So you have that prong where he's constantly calling into doubt the integrity of elections that he loses. Not the ones he wins, just the ones he loses, right? And this, again, has really bad effects on people's faith in the institutions of our elections, which leads to rises in populism, which leads to rises in people wanting a strong man and all these things. It's a problem. So you have that prong coming in. You also have another prong that he's doing at the same time, which is to try to rig the elections in his favor. You saw this on January 6th, where he brought false slate of electors, a whole scheme in order to try to overturn the election, to rig it himself, to steal it himself. Now they're trying something with voter rolls, where they want to gain access, and they've brought suit in multiple states to try to gain access to states' voter rolls so that they can be in charge of who is listed on these voter rolls, right? Who gets purged, who gets to stay, all these things. He wants that ability because it gives him an immense amount of power. One of the things he could do with that is a month or two before elections, he could put his thumb on the scale and purge primarily Democratic voters. Now, if you get purged, you can get back on the voter roll, but it just creates another obstacle to people to they have to re-register. You have to go back in. You have to prove that you're actually alive and actually who you say you are, instead of just being registered like you normally are. And as long as you are consistently voting, you don't really have to do much. It's just another obstacle, and it's a problem. And do not put it past him, right? Do not put it past MAGA. I know a lot of people think that, well, Wick, aren't you being a little doomer right now? Aren't you being a little fear-mongery? Trump has done this before. What do you think will stop him from doing it again? He's going to try. And this is one of the ways he's been trying to do this. It's a serious problem, and we need to take it seriously. Let me read some of my super chats. Sulfuris for $5 says, sorry, Wick, I wasn't paying attention. Can you restart the stream? Well, don't worry. We haven't said much yet. We're going to get to. Yeah, and No Cow Mike says he put it past him. He's openly confessing. Yes, this is what they want to do because they know they're going to get shellacked, right? They know they're going to get shellacked in the midterms, right? They're going to lose the House. They're going to lose the Senate. And that makes it much, much harder for Trump to implement his policies. Without control of the Senate and the House, the sitting executive has a much harder time doing what he wants to do. And Trump knows that when Democrats get back into power in the House and the Senate, they're going to start to fuck with him again, right? To bring forth criminal proceedings against him, impeachment proceedings perhaps even, again. And it's going to create a huge headache for him and a hassle for him, right? It's going to stop him from being able to continue his slow-rolling destruction of American democracy and the Constitution. It'll slow him down at least, right? So he doesn't want that. He also, again, doesn't want to take that hit. Like, he has an ego. He doesn't want to lose. And if his party loses in midterms, Well, one, he'll blame everyone but himself. That's number one. He's much like Hasan in that way, right? His drag on the party, he always blames on other people rather than himself. Two is he will throw a fit, right? He doesn't want that hit to his ego. It's going to be a problem for him. He'll hate it. And so for those reasons alone, that's enough to justify him in his mind for stealing the election or trying to. And again, this is one of the ways that they're trying to fuck with it. It's important. It's something we need to pay attention to. I know we get distracted sometimes with drama. I know we get distracted sometimes with all the other problems going on, right? Like especially the leftist infighting and the slow-moving coup of our democratic institutions and party by illiberal actors in not only the DSA, but in Hasan Piker's camp. The podcaster class deciding to put rocket fuel into populist rhetoric that is destroying our institutions, right? It's crazy. But we also have to remember that MAGA isn't done yet. It's not done yet. It's close. We're winning on the merits. But President Trump still has some cards he can play. And he's absolutely trying to play these cards. And we need to pay attention to this. Okay. Any thoughts on this? Anyone want to call in about this topic specifically before we move on? Anyone? Gang, do you guys not? Usually when I do call-in shows, I have a few callers. What's going on here? You guys just like there's 200 of you watching. Oh, here we go. We have a caller. Hello. Here, let me change my system. Okay. Hi, how you doing?
Sorry, there we go. I just wanted to object to one thing.
Go ahead.
I think it's wrong to call the arguments that we're having with far left slopulists infighting. They are not in, and there is fighting, but they are not in. We don't have to. I don't think we should even use the word infighting because that would be an admission of acceptance of them being in the coalition that they are not a part of, in my personal opinion.
I understand what you're saying, and I don't necessarily disagree, but when I say infighting, there are a portion of the Democrats who are in our party, right, who I consider allies, who have a different opinion of me on how we deal with the DSA, the far left, etc. They want to coalition with them. They want to invite these people in. They want to prop these people up. They want to, and we see this on, and we're going to talk about this soon, we see this on Twitter, right, where they want to just not, we should ignore Hasan. There are more important things going on, and we need to really focus on MAGA. These people aren't far leftists. These people are in my party. These people are someone who I consider allies, but they feel that we are focusing far too much on these people and that we need to go after MAGA and ignore these people. When I say infighting, that's the arguments I'm speaking of. You are correct, though. When you point out that people like Hasan and the DSA, they ain't us. Okay, they ain't like us. Is that how the song goes? I'm not sure.
I couldn't tell you. Much appreciated. Keep cooking.
Was that all you got? Okay. Bring on the next caller. $5 from Metalworks. I'm gonna try and call in later playing games with my nephew. I hope your nephew's doing well. Hello, you're live.
Wick, can you hear me?
Yes. What's up?
Perfect. Two things. First off, the article is just another Trump authoritarian power grab. We've seen it 100 times before. We'll see it 100 times more. It's terrifying, but hopefully it's getting blocked and it won't affect the midterms.
Yeah, there is another injunction in place, so they can't implement it yet. But again, I think it's worth pointing out, and it's newsworthy. And today's kind of like a news day, so here we are.
Definitely. But the second thing, I got to push back a little bit. I gotta stand up for my sloppulists. Okay, I think that we should call it infighting because I think the Democratic Party should embrace DSA candidates. I think the
Why?
DSA
Hold on.
candidates.
Oh, why? Give me your argument.
That's what I was about to hit you with. I think DSA candidates just have better messaging that's appealing to more people right now. I think that I mean, look at the Abdul campaign, look at the Mamdani campaign. The thing the Democratic voters care the most about right now is what's happening in their pocketbooks. And traditional Democrats aren't appealing hard enough to that. But the DSA candidates definitely are. And I mean, that's why we're seeing successes.
Okay. So I disagree with your premise that that's what most people care. Well, I don't disagree that most people care about pocketbook issues. I do disagree that normal Democrats aren't successfully like showcasing those issues, talking about those issues, trying to fix those issues. I just disagree with that entirely. I would point to as evidence the fact that if you look at who's winning these races, most of the winners are moderate to progressive Democrats. By far, moderates have the biggest share, progressives the second biggest share. DSA candidates or DSA adjacent candidates, to be clear, Abdul El Said, while I have problems with him, is not a DSA candidate, right? The DSA is
Mhm.
supporting him, but he is not a DSA member as far as
Yeah,
I'm aware, correct? Right?
correct.
Yeah. So, like, if we look at what most voters outside of like New York and these super
Blue
sapphire
stronghold.
blue districts are wanting,
Yeah.
it's not the DSA. They're rejecting them. I'd point to Wisconsin as an example, right? Like, Wisconsin, they were so terrified and did not want the DSA candidate so much that they tapped someone who had already dropped out of the race, went on a whirlwind tour to promote that guy, and got him elected over her. And the fact that he was able to win with so little runway, that he was able to take off like he was, even though it was a very, very close election, I'll cede to that, just shows that there is a sizable, and a majority, I would posit to you, a majority of voters on the Democratic side just don't want DSA sloppy lists.
But I mean, I think that there's a slight issue with that.
Go
I
ahead.
think that the DSA has great messaging and terrible branding. I think that the messaging appeals to the voters, but I think that number one, the word socialist, very scary, very very big
Well, when
scary.
you say the messaging appeals to the voters, two things. One, I disagree. Have you seen the interviews that they're doing? If you think that that's good messaging on the part of the DSA, I don't know what you're smoking, but that's just crazy. But I am curious what you would consider their quote unquote good messaging. What is the messaging? What messages are they putting out there that you think are hitting with the voters?
Yeah, money in your pockets, money out of politics.
Is that a DSA slogan? That's an Abdul Al Said slogan, yeah?
It's definitely not unique to Abdul. We see tons and tons of DSA candidates, especially in like smaller local races. I mean, they're going with the same strategy: money in your pocketbooks, money out of politics. Money in your pocketbooks, money out of
But
politics.
that's been a Democratic cry since Citizens United. Like, the Democratic Party has said we need to get money out of politics for over a decade at this point, right? Like, this
But
isn't something that was invented by the DSA or the populace. This has been
sure,
something that has been, yeah, but
I'm
this has
not
been
saying that
something
it's
that's
like
been
totally
stressed.
unique.
Yeah, no, I get you. But this has been stressed by just the Democratic establishment, like Chuck Schumer and things like that. So I don't understand why you think that the DSA has ownership of this now.
So again, ownership uniquely, no. I think that they're stronger in the messaging about it. I mean,
Okay,
I mean,
why?
Abdul's, huh?
Why? Why are they stronger in their messaging about this?
Yeah, because it's ultra prominent. I mean, we still. I mean, I'm gonna go to the big one, right? We've been on the anti-Semitism talk recently. The anti-APAC messaging, right? DSA promoters and DSA candidates love talking about APAC. Now, you might want to say that that's good or bad for like optically appearing anti-Semitically, etc. That's a separate conversation. But the main point about that, that there are certain influences outside of outside of our electorate who are having way too much prominent say in our government through the use of buying these electorates is wrong.
So, a couple things. One, I think that they aren't messaging about money out of politics. They're messaging about AIPAC out of politics. I would agree with you that the appeal to anti-Israel sentiment, anti-Zionism, right, is strongest on the DSA side, right? That's their ace up the sleeve. So if you wanted to give me an argument that the DSA's anti-Zionist messaging is hitting better than the Democrats' stance on this, I might actually agree with you in some instances, right? I think that, okay, yeah, there are a lot of younger voters who that appeals to, and whether we like it or not, this is something that they care about, and this is what they want. Now, that said, it's turning a lot of other voters off, I would argue, and I think that the singular obsession with AIPAC is, well, we've had the anti-Semitism.
Look, we can. I'm sure that we could hash out another 30-minute talk about anti-Semitism if you really wanted to.
No, we're good on that.
But to avoid that, I think that using AIPAC as a vessel for this get money out of politics position is something that at least mainstream Democrats who are not outspoken Zionists, yada yada yada, right, should adopt how it is working. The Israel-Palestine issue, as much as we talk about it, is one that is heavily weighing against Israel.
Hello? You cut out at the end there.
Proponent against it. We see pundits proponent against it. This is a strong form of messaging.
So, again, I
cannot hear you, Wick.
Oh, hello? Can you hear me?
I don't know if it's a me issue. I might need to leave and come back.
Hello? Hello?
Can you scream here?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, no, I still can't hear you.
Unfortunately, it's been a good talk, though. Oh well, here we go. Just to kind of like put a pin in that and to kind of answer what he's saying. I think that these people don't actually care about money in politics, because if they did, they would go with again, Citizens United and attacking that, which allows for a lot of outside interests, right, to put money into advertisements and other things that they feel sways politics. Look, I think money in politics is overblown as a problem. I do. Maybe that's a hot take. I think that we have much deeper issues in our democracy that need to be addressed. Money in politics is very mild as an issue. But I understand that messaging, right, maybe not the most popular right now. And so to his point of the DSA has better messaging, quote unquote, if it wasn't just about AIPAC and they demonstrated that they were not okay with taking any money, I'd give them a little more grace there. But they don't, right? They get funded from Qatar and other outside foreign interests all the time. And they have no problem taking that money. It's just AIPAC for some reason. It's weird, right? Okay. We do have one more caller that I want to talk about the Hasan stuff. Okay. I'm sorry that he was a good guy. He was a good caller, so unfortunate. Hello, you're live.
What's up, Wick?
Well, living life.
No, I just wanted to say about the Wisconsin thing. People know what McCarthyism, right?
Yep. McCarthyism, for my audience, is back in the 50s or 60s. There was a Red Scare. I think it was the 50s, right? The Red Scare with the communists were infiltrating our government because, again, the World War II had just ended a little bit ago. And the USSR had become our kind of rivals on the world stage. And a lot of people were worried about communist influence within our government. And so McCarthy was one of the people who... Oh, go ahead.
What state was McCarthy from?
I don't know what state McCarthy.
Wisconsin.
Okay.
So when you get DSA members here, literally no one, fuck communists, fuck socialists. That is that's how we feel here.
I mean, you guys almost elected one in a primary. She wouldn't win the general. She wasn't going to win the general, and that's for a lot of
Crowley
reasons.
came out of nowhere. I mean, compared to the polls, I mean, that was an easy like $800 I made off of betting. I just had no idea. I had no chance Hong would win.
You were, you had information I lacked because going into
I'm just
that
a
night,
local.
I thought Crowley was sunk in the primary. I was despairing because I thought we had lost the Wisconsin governorship. Because if Hong had won the primary, we would have lost the Wisconsin governorship.
I completely agree.
To Tiffany. And as people pointed out, Tiffany's an election denier. Tiffany's one of those guys who would help Trump steal the election, right?
1000% agree.
I had to take some pretty extreme measures to express my dismay that people were going to elect Hong. Okay. I took some hits for it optically, but by God, I was right, okay, in taking the stance I did. Because I saved Wisconsin. Well, not just me, but everyone who took my stance. And we got it done. But yeah, no, I did not know that McCarthy was from Wisconsin. Now
Yeah, and it's just like there's a really heavy Jewish population in the Midwest, and just from what we've been seeing on Twitter, there's a reason it's happening.
What's the reason?
Hasan mainly campaigns in these super ultra blue districts. He's going to win. That's where your radicals are. Easy. You go into more purple states where you have Democrats and Republicans who share some of the same beliefs, and that stuff just doesn't fly here.
Fair enough. Like I think we're seeing that a lot of Democratic politicians are waking up to the problem that Hasan Piker is posing. And we're going to talk about that soon. So thanks for calling in, and thanks for kind of giving me a good segue into that segment. Is there anything else I can help you with today, sir?
No, it's great talking to you. Have a nice stream. I'll be happy to watch.
Bye-bye. Yeah, I see you backstage, Lawson. But I think before we bring you on, I want to go over some of these things about Hasan Piker. And then once I do that, once I cover some of the discourse, we can open it up back to callers and call-ins. How's that, Lawson? You won't have to wait too long. This isn't too in-depth, right? I think most of my viewers are familiar, at least passing, with all this stuff. Give me 1 second. So, for those of you who do not know, MAGA, Fox News, and the right-wing media apparatus has made Hasan famous, okay? They have discovered who this man is, and they hit the motherlode gang, okay, of just, if there was a chance in hell of them winning the midterms or softening the blow in the midterms, I don't know, maybe one of them must have found a genie and made a wish or something, because Hasan gives them the edge that will blunt our assault in the midterms, right? It is something that they are going all in on because it's effective. People see Hasan and his rhetoric, terrorist support, anti-Semitic statements, his hatred of America, his propping up of Mao Zedong, Russia, right? Siding with Russia over Ukraine, just apologia for the most authoritarian regimes in existence, talking about how the collapse of the USSR was the great tragedy of the 21st century. Just crazy shit. And MAGA has decided to hang, like a millstone, to hang Hasan Piker around the necks of the Democratic Party. Okay? And they have been, in my opinion, aided and abetted by the podcasting class and puff piece journalists, pundits and politicians who decided to campaign with him. And it's gotten so bad It's gotten so bad. And it's hurting our campaign so much that everyone who's campaigned with him, or at least Abdul al-Sayed, has disavowed him. He made a statement, it was pretty milquetoast, where he disavowed Hasan Piker. Let me see if I can find it. I have all the clips but that one. Disavows Hasan Piker. Let's see if we can find the statement. I just need the tweet. I just need the tweet. Oh, Jesus. Here we go. I found it. We can read it together, gang. The statement from Abdul al-Sayed. I believe all Americans deserve the right to advocate for what they believe without fear of violence. This is particularly true for the communities that have been intimidated for their beliefs in the past. My commitment to Jewish safety is the same as my commitment to the safety of my own daughters. Anti-Semitism is a scourge, and we need to address it in all its forms. And I stand against any rhetoric that puts the community at risk. But I want to be crystal clear. Nobody speaks for this campaign besides me and my campaign spokespeople. And while politicians and pundits try to make this race about a Twitch streamer, we're going to be talking about gas, groceries, good schools, and healthcare. Because that's what Michiganders keep asking about. It's why I'm fighting to get money out of politics, money in your pocket, and Medicare for all. While he did not name Hasan, we all know who he is talking about. He would not have put out this statement if Hasan wasn't a fucking problem for him. He wouldn't have said shit if it wasn't a growing problem for him. He knows. He sees his internals. He sees what's going on. He knows that this is hurting his campaign. And Mike Rogers is having a field day. Having a field day with him, okay? Over this shit. It's insane. Here, let me see if I can find the You have Alyssa Slotkin, a whole host of Democratic politicians that have come out and denounced Hasan Piker and his rhetoric and distanced themselves extremely far, right?
Abdul al-Sayed's
but the problem that Hasan Piker poses cannot be so easily dismissed.
There are going to be a lot of people who are already questioning Abdul al-Sayed's sincerity on these issues that will then turn around and say, he's moderating his position on Israel, all this stuff. I don't think he is. Okay, I will say this. I am literally the person that is being dangled, and I'm going to tell you once again, he's not moderating on his perspective on Israel or anything like that. Okay, his reaction to this has always been very good, which is, look, I deal with people that I don't fully agree with and don't fully subscribe to on a daily basis. This is politics. Politics is about addition, not subtraction, right? It's smart. It's the right way to deal with it and then deflect back to the issues because they are the ones who are engaging in the deflection, okay?
When you have someone who is so full of themselves that when the politician that they campaigned with tries to distance themselves because they recognize it's hurting them, he's like, oh, don't worry, guys. He's not actually distancing himself. This is just a tactical move. He's just being strategic. He's not actually disagreeing with me on all these things, right? All, it's just a tactic. And he's saying this knowing that Fox News, Mike Rogers, because this was put out as a tweet by guess who? Mike Rogers, right? They're watching this because Abdul al-Sayed, in his infinite foolishness, decided to campaign with this guy, to have pool parties with this guy on the night of the election, to actively seek his endorsement, actively seek his community out. And he has made it so easy for Mike Rogers to take fucking Hasan Piker, Diddy Piker dog striker, and hang him around the neck of Abdul al-Said and say, no, bitch, this is your boy. He's saying that your little statement didn't mean shit. He's saying that your little statement was just trying to kind of pull the wool over the voters' eyes, that he's not actually disavowing, that he's actually still on our team, right? It's a real big problem. It's a real big problem. And everyone is recognizing this problem, even the pundit class, even the podcaster class. But the problem with the podcaster class is they're allergic. They're allergic to accountability. They're allergic to being held accountable for their actions. You have PodSaveAmerica, John Favreau, calling on all Dems to take the Don't Talk About Hasan Piker for a Day challenge. Can we do it? Lots of other topics to focus on with 69 days. 69. Left until the midterms. Maybe if we're successful, we could try for a full week. Brother, I need you to listen. I need you to listen. I need you to understand. You brought him on your show. You promoted him. You pedestaled him. You pushed him onto the party. You advocated for him. Why are we talking about him? Because you brought him up. Because you made him famous. You brought him to national attention. You advocated that he would be a force in the Democratic Party. And now, again, you did this while the rest of us were screaming at you not to do this. We were telling you exactly what would happen. We said, if you make this guy the face of the Democratic Party, MAGA will have a field day. They are salivating for you to do this. They will tie him around our necks, and it will drag the party down and make it harder to win elections. It will allow them to engage in successful whataboutism that we didn't need to give them ammo to do. It makes it harder for people to understand the dangers that Trump opposes, when you have someone being pushed on our side that's a fucking terrorist supporter. An anti-Semitic terrorist supporter who cheers on Mao Zedong and says he would never make fun of Mao Zedong. He never do that, right? Who laments the fall of the USSR, right? Who abuses his dog. All these things. And then lies about it constantly. John Favreau, I wish we didn't have to talk about Hasan Piker, but we do, because you brought him and you served him up on a silver platter and saying, look, this is the face of the Democratic Party. And MAGA looked at that and said, okay, and they took you at your word, and now it's a problem, just like we had said it would be. And instead of taking any kind of internal audit and say, did I get this one wrong? How could I do better next time? You're like, well, why are you guys talking about him all the time? Why are you talking about Hasan Piker all the time? I just had him on my podcast, that's all. He's not the only motherfucker who's doing this. Hasan, there's a whole list. I'll do that one later. Okay. You have Mehdi Hasan on the wall of fucking shame here. Mehdi Hasan. So Bill Scher makes a statement that was very reasonable. Responding to Matt Duss, who says, you never seen corporate Democrats fight as hard and as on message against Trump as they are against Hasan right now. It's insane, which is a lie. That's just not true. Bill Scher says this is untrue, bordering on slanderous. Democrats of all stripes fight Trump every day. They're also fighting Piker because they think he's going to sink al-Said and blow the Democrats' shot at taking the Senate and having more power to fight Trump. This is true. This is correct. This is a correct statement. Mehdi Hasan comes in, right? And look, Hasan Piker could kill and eat a child, and Mehdi Hasan would defend that. Mehdi Hasan would ride in on his white fucking horse and deep throat Hasan Piker, take his all 6 inches of his cock, gargle his balls, right? Anything. Mehdi Hasan is team Hasan Piker all the way, no matter what, 100%. So Mehdi Hasan comes riding in, okay? And to be clear, Mehdi Hasan has promoted Hasan Piker on his channel, right? And defends him constantly. Mehdi Hasan comes riding in. You really don't accept that the Dems' attacks on Piker and obsession with him while giving Rogers a pass for his alliance with actual fascists and racists isn't what's going to take the AES campaign? No one is giving Mike Rogers a pass. But having Mike Rogers be able to point to Hasan Piker and say, look, motherfucker, this is your boy. That's what's going to take, if something tanks Abdul al-Said's campaign, it's going to be that, right? And this kind of victim blaming that Mehdi here is doing, right? Because Mehdi is the one who promoted this guy as the face of the Democratic Party, like to appeal to the Democratic youth, the Democratic young men, the people who aren't being heard, right? He's the one that's created this problem. And now the Democrats have to distance ourselves and distance our brand and distance our platform from an insane terrorist supporter. That's on you, Mehdi. It would be malpractice for a Democratic politician not to disavow Hasan Piker right now. It would be political malpractice for influencers, podcasters, anyone who actually cares about beating MAGA, not just in this election, but in elections going forward. It would be malpractice not to speak out against Hasan Piker right now. And in fact, if you are not speaking out against Hasan Piker right now, I question you actually want to beat MAGA. If you actually want to beat MAGA, I question whether or not you actually want to beat Trump. Because this constant sweeping, this constant defense, this constant white knighting, this constant trying to tie Hasan Piker as the face of the Democratic Party and pushing him, which the podcast class does over and over again, it's going to cost us elections. It's going to cost us votes. It's going to cost us support. It's going to make it harder to do our goddamn jobs and beat MAGA. I don't need people to only focus on Hasan Piker. But if you're doing Trump bad content, out of the 100 Trump bad videos you've just done, take one. Take one and disavow Hasan Piker. Distance yourself from Hasan Piker. Point out that Hasan Piker does not speak for Democrats. That Hasan Piker is a problem. That Hasan Piker is someone we don't want to associate with and no one should associate with. If you are someone who is a voter, or if you're someone who has a little smaller influence, make it clear to your elected representatives that, hey, we don't want you anywhere near Hasan Piker. Don't go anywhere near that guy. We don't want a raging terrorist supporter and anti-Semite on our team. Please don't make us have to distance ourselves more from him. Just leave this man as a Twitch streamer on Twitch to Twitch to his audience to get those epic donos by making crazy statements, and just let the politicians do their job. But we can't. We can't. I wish you all had listened in 2024, okay? You guys remember 2024 election? Hunter Kozak, if you're here, you remember. I told people how to handle this. I told people exactly what was going to happen, and I told people how to stop it from happening, but no one listened. So I told, because this came up because of the DNC thing, where Hasan Piker was allegedly kicked out of the DNC. I told people that we needed a Sister Soldier moment with Hasan Piker. Because if we did not, and well, let me explain what a Sister Soldier moment was. Back in the 90s, when Bill Clinton was running for his first term, there was an artist known as Sister Souljah who had said some pretty fucking horrific things about white people. Very anti-white racism, all these things. And there was a Rainbow Coalition dinner with, I think it was Al Sharpton, I could be wrong, that was hosting, and Bill Clinton was attending. And it came up, and Bill Clinton stood up and said, "We don't want anything to do with you, Sister Souljah. This is not, you don't represent us, you don't represent our party, you don't represent what we are." That's not the exact quote, but that was known as the Sister Souljah moment, where he distanced himself. Bill Clinton distanced himself against the extremists, right? And someone who was considered an extremist. And it defanged, right? Like, it defanged Republicans' ability to tie the Democratic Party to those extremists on the fringe. Again, in 2024, I said we needed to do this with Hasan Piker. We needed to be the ones that sat down and initially introduced the public to our relationship with this man in a way that made it clear that he does not speak for us. He is not part of us. We do not like him. We do not want him anywhere near us, etc. A Sister Souljah moment, if you will, for our time, for our day. I said we needed to do this because otherwise, and you can find the clip, right? All my stuff's live. You can find me saying this 2 fucking years ago. Okay. If we did not, eventually MAGA would define our relationship to the public with this man. They would tie him around our neck like a millstone. Because even at that time, there were puff pieces being made about Hasan Piker. He was going on podcasts. The podcasting class was getting little loosey-goosey with their relationship with Hasan Piker. They were promoting him a little bit, right? That just got worse and worse and worse. He began campaigning with actual politicians, like major national politicians. It became much more of a problem than it was, and we see the results. Had we taken the stance, taken the actions that I advocated for at that time, we would not be having to do this today. We would be in a much better place, a much better position to win, and not just a little, but by a lot in the midterms. But we might lose in Michigan because no one fucking listens to Wick. And it frustrates the hell out of me that all these things, I warned you guys about Plattner too, right? I warned you guys about Hong. Like, you guys keep not listening. And you need to listen, okay? You need to listen. I'm right more than I'm wrong. I'm not 100% accuracy, but my accuracy rate is fucking high. Better than a coin flip. Beetle Nation. Hasan wanting to be the Joe Rogan on the left, but he's actually the Nick Fuentes of the left. True. $5 from Benji Boy. That was not a disavow of Hasan. That was a let's talk about anything else but Hasan. Look, baby steps. I will reward it, okay? I will reward it a little. But it didn't matter because Hasan just fucking sunk that ship immediately. And Mike Rogers tweeted out his sinking of that ship immediately and saying, look, this is Hasan saying that was just fucking kayfabe, right? Kayfabe. That wasn't real. It was a tactical disavow. And so any kind of goodwill that would be garnered from Abdul El Sayed making that statement, any kind of fix to the problem, Hasan made that impossible. That motherfucker is a problem. $10 from Burnbird. Thoughts on Wild Cherry? Wild Cherry Pepsi? It's fine. Look, Coke's my preferred, but sometimes I'm out of Coke, and other people, right? Like, it's just, that's what I had. Upstate Trash, thank you for the Tier 1 membership. Look at you go. Look at you go. When will people listen to Wick? When will they? Okay. I don't know. It wasn't in 2024, unfortunately. Will it be today? I feel hopeful that more and more Democrats are taking my advice. It's late. It's late. The hour is late, but they're taking it. So good. Continue to do so. Ro Khanna. Too many demotivated Democrats stayed home in 2016 and 2024. We can't repeat past mistakes. In this upcoming election, we need to quit calling Bernie Sanders an anti-Semite. Are people calling Bernie Sanders an anti-Semite? I don't know. Stop wasting time attacking Hasan Piker instead of Trump's robber baron corruption. We can do both. It's not an either or. Don't put Israel hawks out of touch with our voters in charge of our Middle East policy. It is time for a reckoning. Are we a party that represents corporate interests and super PACs, or will we represent the American people? Gang. It's not a distraction. It's the whole ball game. It's not a waste of time. Are we the party who represents the American people, or are we the party that represents the fucking podcasting class? I don't give a shit what the podcasting class wants. I don't give a shit what their little friend groups and their little clout circles want. The American people don't want Hasan Piker anywhere fucking near influence or power. And they're showing it through their votes and through their advocacy. And Abdul El-Sayed realized it's a problem, so he's trying to distance. Other Democrat senators, congressmen, they realize it's a problem, and they're making disavowals now. MAGA recognizes it as an opportunity. It's a field day for their propaganda. It helps them. It alleviates pressure on them because now they can what about us to death, right? Oh, you think Trump's corrupt? Well, what about Hasan Piker, who supports terrorists, and Mao Zedong? Who's more corrupt than Mao Zedong? Look at you guys cozying up with also corrupt people. It works, unfortunately. It's rhetorically effective. It's not a waste of time. It's the whole fucking ball game. And I don't care what the fucking podcaster class has to say about this or what they think about this. The American people deserve better than fucking terrorist supporters as our influencers. The American people deserve fucking better. It makes me upset. It makes me mad. I know I'm ranting, but I don't care. I'm wicking out, gang. It's just disgusting. It's disgusting. It disgusts me. It disgusts me that these people are going to put their fucking clout, their fucking friendships, their fucking, I don't even know, right? Their connections with Hasan Piker above winning elections. For what? He doesn't bring anything to the table except for a problem. He brings fucking problems to the table that we have to deal with. And I feel I'm tired of having to be the adult in the room that comes by and cleans up the mess of these children. These political children, these neophytes who don't know what they're doing. Ugh. Hasan Piker, ladies and gentlemen. I had to quote tweet him, or I had to screenshot him because he blocked me. This is him quote tweeting a tweet about a list of all the senators and congressmen and politicians who have disavowed Hasan Piker in the last few days. He says, we should calculate how much the AIPAC total is for all these candidates so we know how much the MAGA billionaire-backed foreign government lobby got prominent Dems to keep the attention on an anti-Zionist Twitch streamer through lies instead of Trump's admin in these critical midterms. Brother, you went on these, you campaigned with these people. You went on stage to do photo ops with these politicians, Abdul El-Sayed, Hong, a few others, right? You were the one who put yourself out there. You were the one going in front of the camera every fucking day. You were the one asking for these interviews, asking for this influence. What do you mean what do you mean people are being paid to keep it, like the lobby class is paying people to keep attention on you? No, brother. People are paying attention to you because you've put yourself into the spotlight. You have done this to yourself. And this populist brain rot that any one of these candidates had to be paid to disavow you? Nah, brother. They're doing it for free. It's always, always, always someone else's fault with these people. It's never the results of what they do, what they say, what they advocate for. It's always others. And what do you mean through lies? We haven't lied fucking once. None of my crew has, at least. None of the people I roll with have, at least. You might be able to find some crazy here and there that does it. But bro, we are accurately representing you to, again, our audiences as a cautionary tale. What we are doing is beating MAGA by showcasing that we are not associated with you. And that makes it easier to win elections because people look at you and they feel disgust. You disgust them. Your support for terrorism disgusts them. Your anti-Semitism disgusts them. Your rank stupidity disgusts them and amuses them in equal measure. I'm tired, gang. I'm tired. People are the worst. The worst. Gang, Dolly Parton, in case you don't know, unfortunately, very sadly, passed away yesterday. Yeah. It's very sad. Very sad. I was a fan for a while, okay? But even worse than her passing is what some of these stooges, okay, have been saying about our queen, okay? Let's take a look.
Well, the track A.
Hold on. Is there a way to... No, it's as loud as it can go. Okay. Just gotta listen, gang.
Well, the track APAC Cheeto thinks that Dolly Parton has committed the gravest sin of all. She didn't say free Palestine. Bitch! Look, Orange Freddie G, not everyone can be lucky like you and make a career out of grifting, pushing disinformation. And while you were doing that, Dolly Parton was actually doing something good for the world. He couldn't even wait one day to tell us a celebrated female singer's biggest flaws. Because she's no Miss Rachel. Would one of those flaws have been the 332,411,218 books that have been given to kids so they could read? And it's been so successful that it's spread to multiple countries. Would it have been the theme park she set up that's generated more than 23,000 jobs and over $1.8 billion annually? This, by the way, actually helps the local economy and the people who live nearby. Oh, and her company pays 100% of all the education costs if an employee wants to further their education. She started a foundation to lower the high school dropout rate. Don't forget all the help she's given to natural disaster victims, like these fire victims, or flood victims, or hurricane victims. Don't forget the money she donated that was allocated to food and grocery programs across the United States. I'm personally donating to help the development of the Moderna vaccine and helped fund pediatric infectious disease research. Wow, if only she'd spent more time on the internet in the comment section on Threads, she could have been a good person. Instead, she was a one-of-a-kind legend that we will never forget. You know what though? Let's let Dolly say some parting words.
Go to hell.
Because Dolly Parton apparently never said free Palestine. The track APAC people, you guys remember them? Slandered her name. Saying that, Miss Rachel, she was no Miss Rachel. On the day of her death. Dolly Parton didn't do Like, Dolly Parton was a good person. We just went through all the good she did in the world. And because she wasn't into your political hobby horse shit, you talk shit about her on her death. This is why no one likes you fuckers. This is why you disgust people. This is why we are disgusted by you. You are only popular in online niche social circles, right? In the sapphire blue districts where you and your well-to-do friends can gather in your universities and start just saying the most god-awful shit about fucking national heroes like Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton was a treasure, gang. A treasure. And you're slandering her name like that? That's disgusting. That's disgusting. It disgusts me, okay? Ugh. Sorry, I'm very angry. $5 from Adam Milne. I'm an anarchist who thinks liberalism needs defending right now because that's what's allowed me to be an anarchist. I think you're doing a great job. Well, I think I'm doing a good job too. I appreciate the words though. Thank you for the $5. Curious why you're an anarchist though. Wild thing to say. 2-Bit Dork says, you should sing one of her songs. I will honor Dolly Parton's memory by not singing one of her songs. Okay. Yeah, Tim Curry passed away today, right? Yeah, that's very sad as well. I think we all need to kind of reconnect. And we have to reevaluate how we engage with politics in America, with politics online, amongst our fellow influencers and friends and things like that. Digital Ground Game is doing great work on the groundwork. We have canvassing houses that are being set up. The Liberal Action Network, we've gotten that together to kind of band together as liberals to protect each other from slander, lies, attacks, and to boost each other and to help get our message out about liberalism, right? These are all good things. But we also need to kind of come together and recognize that there are forces at play other than MAGA who are threats to our way of life, who are threats to our democracy, who are threats to America. And I understand that MAGA is the biggest threat right now. But it is a mistake to think that they are the only serious threat. They are not. We are seeing the fruits, the early fruits of a campaign of years of people who have been getting into positions of influence and who have been subverting and subverted in their turn to pushing populism and illiberalism. One of the things that we need is to be able to answer this question. Why are you a Democrat? And your answer cannot be because Trump. It cannot be that. It cannot be that the only reason you are a thing is to oppose another thing, as grave a threat as that might be. Because if that is your only reason that you can articulate, it's going to make you weak to infiltration and subversion. And look, there's a lot of juice to be squeezed from Orange Man Bad, okay? There's a lot. He is uniquely corrupt. He's uniquely terrible in many ways. But we have to define ourselves beyond that. We have to define ourselves beyond that. I'm going to give you guys some homework, okay? I'm going to give you guys some homework. I want you not even think about Trump, okay? Take Trump and put him from your mind. And spend a day thinking about why you vote Democrat. why you should vote Democrat. Why are you a Democratic voter? Why are you a member of the Democratic Party? Why? I want you to come back to me next time we do one of these things and give me some of your answers. Why are you a Democrat? I tell you my reasons, but I don't want you to copy me. Okay. At least not yet. I do want you eventually to, right? But I don't want to like prime the pump too much, right? Like, why? I think it's an important question. You have to be able to answer it, and it has to be something that you're able to articulate. It has to be something that you can say in maybe 1 or 2 sentences. I'm a Democrat because X, Y, Z. Laid out cleanly, clearly. And that way, when bad actors come into your spaces, or when you see bad actors in other spaces that you were a part of, you can recognize the distinction between them and you. One of the reasons that subversion from the DSA types, or why so many people on our side are willing to let them in, is because they value a common goal of beating Trump over a common principle. Common goals, and I've said this before and I'll say this again, it bears repeating. Common goals are not nearly as important as common principles. I will not coalition with someone who does not share common principles. We might even have different goals on occasion, but if we have common principles, I know we're working ultimately in the same direction. Common goals, the danger of putting that as your main focus is it allows people who want to accomplish that goal, but for remarkably different reasons, harmful reasons, hurtful reasons, hateful reasons, to come in and you help them do it, right? To kind of piggyback off of the good thing you want to do, and use it for ill ends and turn it to ill ends. Okay. So that's the homework that you guys have, right? That's the homework you guys have. Find a set of common principles for why you are a Democratic voter. And stick to them. Defend them. Be able to argue against people who say, no, your principles are wrong. Be able to defend them. And it takes time and it takes effort. And this is why I do what I do, though. If you want it easy, there are other streams that you could go to. If you wanted to just sit at your computer, be told what to think, there are other people that you can go to. You go watch a video essay or some shit. You could go the populist route, where, all your problems are because of the billionaires and because of MAGA and because of all the elites, right? But that's not going to actually solve anything, because those aren't the reason that there are problems. It's not. Well, MAGA kind of is, right? But they're not the sole reason. MAGA is a symptom, not the disease, right? It is a symptom, and it's a virulent system. It's a horrific system. It's a gross symptom, but it's not the disease. Illiberalism is a disease. Populism is the disease. It is the rot that is hurting our institutions, that is making it harder and harder to get shit done, right? Because people have lost trust in the basic foundational institutions of civilization, of Western civilization. Engaging, as tempting as it is to go the easy route of just engaging in populist rhetoric because it's popular nowadays, right? The dangers of that is that it reifies some of the conclusions that populism comes to almost almost inevitably that the institutions cannot be trusted, politicians cannot be trusted, the courts cannot be trusted, the banks cannot be trusted. None of these people can be trusted because they're all corrupt and they're all working against you and they're all keeping you down. And so when we look to the courts to fix them, to make them work for us, no one will trust that. When we look to financial reforms and we get those in place, no one will trust that, right? When we look at political reforms and get those into place, no one will trust that because the rhetoric that we use to gain power has destroyed the public's trust in these institutions, and it's a real problem. So we need principles, positive principles, reasons why. And these are things that you need to think about. Okay, callers. Where are my callers? I'm ranted. I've ranted a lot today. Okay, I need some callers. We still got about an hour of content that I want to give you. Okay, and gang, if you like this content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, give me your money. It really helps. And we'll get to it. But yeah, if you feel like anything I've said has made you go, I really don't want to do all that shit. I think you're wrong, Wick. Wick, you've missed the point that I think is important. Seeing Jolene? I'm not gonna disgrace Dolly Parton's legacy by singing Dolly Parton songs. Viras Vitia says, did you see the recent infiltration into the census in order to use it to justify election fraud claims? I have not seen that particular thing, but this is something that obviously MAGA has been trying to do. They've been trying to get voter rolls, census data, all these things to prop up a narrative, a populist narrative, that the elites, the Democratic elites, have stolen an election from you, right? By tampering with the census, tampering with the voter rolls, all these things. And the crazy part about it is they say these things while they're trying to do these things, right? They are accusing the Democrats of doing something that they are actively engaged in trying to do. And it's crazy. It's crazy. But no, I haven't seen that specifically. Speaking of homework, has Soypill confirmed when he's going to be done with his homework to actually speak about Israel Palestine with Loaderbox? We already got that scheduled, brother. That's going to be September 2nd, 6 p.m. Eastern, live on WIC TV. They are going to call it the WIC Accords, okay? A season for peace. Enough of blood and tears. Enough. The peace of the brave, they're going to call it, okay? The WIC Accords. Loaderbox and Soypill are going to come together, hash out their differences on Israel-Palestine. It should be fun. It's going to be September 2nd. So, look, we give a lot of credit to Soypill being willing to do this, to do his homework. I give him a lot of credit for being willing to do this. We'll see how it turns out, right? But hopefully he goes into it with the right spirit and doesn't just kind of, because there's two ways to do research. Well, there's more than two, but in these spaces, the primary way that people do research is they come to a conclusion, and then they try to find things that support their conclusion, and they build an argument to support that conclusion, okay? That's the primary method that people engage in this space, because it's a debate space in a lot of ways. People don't want to be wrong. People want to be right, and so they try to make sure to craft the arguments that make them right. You guys see the obvious problem with this? You see the obvious problem with this way of doing things? Hopefully, and I say hopefully, I don't know if it's actually going to happen, right? But hopefully, what Soy Pill does is he goes in thinking, I'm going to find the research. And then once I do that, after I look at that research, I will then come to my conclusion based on what the data I see points to. We should all do that more. Every single one of us, myself included. But again, there's so many incentives to this space to just double down when you're wrong. So many incentives. Upstate Trash says, Wick could have spent his time making a Trump bad video. We did talk about Trump bad at the beginning of the show. We talked about it. We talked about the Supreme Court case, about the voter rolls, right? Not the census data, but the voter rolls and stuff like that. We talked about the Supreme Court case. We did. But no one, look, no one remembers because they will hear what they want to hear. There's a lot of people who say, oh, Wick, you don't actually care about Trump anymore. You're always talking about Hasan Piker. And I'll admit, I talk about Hasan Piker a lot. But that's because he is an obstacle to beating Trump. So yes. I was playing with AI the other day. And I did an AI analysis, or I had someone do it. An AI analysis on my channel. To see how many times different things were mentioned. Okay? Because I was very curious. Let me see if I can find it. I had it up. Because we were doing it just to see, like, how many times did I talk about X, Y, or Z? Here it is. So, out of 702 live streams, okay, 98 clips and videos, and 19 shorts. I've done a lot of content, gang. 702 live streams? That's insane. In the analysis, and I think they didn't do the whole analysis. I think they only did it for the last year or two, maybe a little more. Here's a topic distribution, okay? MAGA and Trump was at the top of the list with 84. Is there a way I can pull this out and I can just show you guys? Hold on. Here, let me try it this way. Yeah, this will work. Okay. MAGA Trump, 84. Democrats and liberals, 74. Israel, the Jews, anti-Semitism, 66. Destiny, it's pretty up there, 55. Ukraine, Russia, 37. Christian nationalism, 28. Race and minorities, 27. Elections and midterms, 26. Hasan is down there near the bottom at 18. Harassment drama at 16. DSA socialists at 14. Tanky communists at 7. Okay? It's, that's the breakdown. That's the data. Do I talk about Hasan a lot? Yeah, but not nearly as much as I talk about other topics. Hasan and anti-Semitism kind of go together, though. Yes, but there's more to Hasan than just his anti-Semitism. That's what makes Hasan so cancerous, is because it's not just his anti-Semitism, right? It's his authoritarianism. It's his simping for communism, right? And communist regimes. It's his animal abuse. It's his lies. It's again, if I was a Republican, if I was MAGA, I would be so happy. I would protect Hasan at all costs. I would be in the trenches defending that man every single day. Every single day. Because he would be my strongest fucking soldier in getting people to vote for my team. That's what I would do if I was MAGA. That would be the smart play. Daliar12. Oh my god, did Wick see Anna Kasparian go full unhinged and call for a solution that isn't political? Where are we looking? Here, Anna Kasparian, we can do a little checky. Little look-see. Here, let's look at her channel. What are you referring to? She said some crazy stuff about Ukraine. I see that. But you gotta be more specific. Yeah, can you if you find the clip, send it to me on Discord. Be interested to see what you're referring to. So to answer your question, no, I haven't seen it. We won't do too much longer if no one calls in. Oh, we got a caller. Hello, you're live.
What's up?
Oh, you know, living life.
That's cool. How's the $50?
Thanks for getting it to me. So to be clear, just so the audience knows, me and Matt had a bet on whether Hong would win. I won that bet. $50 in my pocket.
I know, 3,000 votes. So
squared,
close.
So yeah, it was close, but it's what it is.
Yeah.
So what's up? What do you got for us today?
Just more like a question, just of like what does Wick think question. It has to do with like your side of the aisle type of people. Let's say people like Poundering Politics, Pisco, Kyla. They fall into this group of people that I like to give call the big tent progressives. Let's just call them that for the sake of the conversation. Of this question. They have this mentality of let's invite people like me into the tent, but let's make sure that our people, the progressive people, have the power of the coalition. Let's make sure that these people like me never hold positions of power. From your perspective, from these conversations you had with them, and the reason why I mentioned Kyla's and Pounding Politics and Pisco is mostly because of their conversations with you, Kyla, back in March when she had a conversation between you and Destiny that, led to me to this question. And then you had Pounding Politics and Pisco going on Hutch's show, also having the same conversation as well, basically coming to the same conclusion of, well, they're part of the tent, and if they fail, then I'm not really going to talk about it. If they fail, they fail mentality. They have a very neutral stance, basically. And my question to you is basically just like, what's with that? Like, why do they have such a relaxed mentality of this type of like internal conflict within? Even though you don't want to use the term internal,
You're gonna have to You're gonna have to really ask them.
Yeah. Okay.
I can give you a guess.
Yeah, I like to. Yeah, that's why I'm asking. Like, what's
so I
your
think a lot
guess?
a lot of them, there's a lot of them don't want to turn away people that they could otherwise influence, and so they try to be as non. They don't want to take sides in an internal conflict because they worry it will turn one of the sides off.
Yeah, I get that a lot actually, and I kind of want to use an individual example of
Before you do that,
yeah,
I do have to address this. Okay,
cool.
chat. $10 from Doobie says, "Why push DGG Digital Ground Game if your concern is giving MAGA fuel? Destiny's age playing, death threats, mockery of drowned children, calls for violence, and countless scandals are a better gift to them than Hasan." Well, here's the deal with why I think that Destiny is less of a problem than Hasan would be, is that if someone were to disavow Destiny and distance themselves from Destiny, Destiny doesn't go on and say, don't worry, guys, he's just faking it. It's just tactical, okay? Like Hasan did when Abdul al-Said disavowed him. And Mike Rogers found that clip, played it, and any kind of benefit that Abdul al-Said would get from trying to distance himself is now shot down, right? So that's one reason. Two, a lot of the things that you're talking about are overblown and misrepresented. And while we might disagree with that, I think that, again, he doesn't put himself in the spotlight in the same way someone like Hasan does, right? Digital ground game can work with and for politicians without having to go in and do photo shoots with their campaign, without having to go in and basically have a pool party with them on the night of elections, right? These are things that it's easier for Hasan to be tied to these politicians and giving Malaga fuel than Destiny is. And a lot of people, me included, have had shouting match and screaming matches with Destiny about things that we do disagree with, that we can point to and say, no, when Destiny does something that I don't agree with, I will push back. I will stop him. I will prevent, right, that from being associated with me. And here we are. And for those reasons and more, I think that Hasan, and well, you see it, like the reason why the Democrats, including Abdul al-Said, are doing various things to distance themselves from Hasan is because they recognize Hasan's cancer.
Yep.
$10 more from, oh, did I miss one? Oh, $10 from Doobie to say, feel free to dodge, sweep, excuse, rant, etc. Just curious about the thinking behind let's replace a commie with a dude with wild scandals. Who says anything about replacing? Let's see, what else? And $10 from Doobie to say, you generally believe the Republicans wouldn't make Destiny the Democratic Party mascot if an org connected to him became a real problem for them? You think it's worth the risk? I think that it is going to be harder for them to do that than it is with Hasan because of how they engage and because of Hasan's narcissism. And narcissism is a disease that prevents you from doing what you need to do to actually help the party. And again, because he's a narcissist, he can't just allow Abdul al-Said even to soft distance without having to tell his audience, don't worry, guys, it's just a tactic. Destiny is smarter than that, regardless of what you think of him. $10 from Tagop. Sorry. I got something in my nasal cavity. Destiny also didn't dodge a Piers Morgan appearance to argue. Hasan is over here trying to get on a channel he calls ZNN and avoiding that fight. Even his uncle has more balls. $10 more from Upstate Trash. Reminder, Doobie desperately defends keeping 2,000 plus minors in his politics Discord server, Lemafau. Bro has a Nazi and a minor problem in his politics Discord. Actual freak. Thank you for the $10. Okay, sorry about that, Matt. Didn't mean for your call-in to be well, look, I'm not actually sorry because I like money. But does that back to your question?
Yeah.
Why do I think that certain influencers who I am aware of take a neutral stance in this fight? Like I said, I think they don't want to distance themselves from, or they don't want to turn off potential audience members that they can influence, right? Best faith I can give them is that they think that having these people within their sphere of influence will allow them to have a better impact than if they turn them off with divisive rhetoric. I disagree. I think this fight's worth having. I think this fight's worth being loud about. And I think it's very important to the party that we gatekeep these people. But, that's their decision. They'll run their shows how they want, and I'll run mine how I want. So yeah.
That's true. And I think I actually agree with your position more as well. I actually also have much more respect for Destiny, as I said back in the show when I had when I was on here. Like I value and respect the partisan view of looking at this more than the. And I hate to use the word, but I'm going to use the word because I'm not a streamer, so I could get away with saying this, but I don't believe in this like coward way of looking at politics. And the example I'm going to use is also a streamer.
Hold on. I want to push back. I don't think they're cowards.
I think it is, in my opinion. I think
disagree.
I'm gonna use.
I don't
I'll
think
use the
Kyla's a coward.
example.
I disagree with that. I don't think Kyla is a coward. I don't think Pisco's a coward.
It's just okay. Coward in the sense where
Neither is
you
Josiah,
said,
to be clear.
yeah,
like
yeah.
I fundamentally disagree with Pisco on a lot of things. I fundamentally disagree with how Josiah's, again, his stances on punching left and things like that. But they're
Mhm.
not cowards, and it's silly to call them that.
Okay,
And
would you say weak then?
Kyla's. I don't even know if we can classify Kyla in the same bucket as
Would
those
you
two.
would you say weak then, like notorically weak?
Weak?
Yeah.
I think
If
I
not
think
the
they're
word.
soft. I think they're soft on it.
Okay, soft. Let's use the word soft then, because I'll use an example of these people that they don't want to like lose, but they still want to have like influence over. And I don't know if you know this person. Maybe someone in your audience might know this person. They were kind of big for a while, both from two individuals, and their name is Tilly, that British girl from Oxford University who had drama with both Charlie Cook and Andrew Wilson. She's a perfect example of this. She is based, if you look at her content and what she does, she's also like kind of like a debate person as well. Her content mostly focuses on feminism and hierarchical power structures within them, but also within the economy as well. She's a very big, like semi-philosopher person, kind of respect on that. But she does use a lot of talking points that you would find with people from, let's say, DSA, for example. And this hesitation of, or just the word soft, on not wanting to be too aggressive in the hopes of not losing people like her and people who are just similarly like her, who are just basically, let's just use the basic word of leftists. I think it's a weak strategy. I think that the strategy of being a partisan and making sure that your values are much more upfront, it's a much more powerful thing than trying to balance this tightrope of trying to maintain a big tent coalition, especially if people in the big tent don't think that people like me should exist as well.
I think that's why
that's my overall
I
critique.
think that's why McMorrow lost the primary, because she tried to thread the needle and tried
Yeah.
to appeal to both sides, and neither side wanted that. Like they're like, fuck you.
Yeah, and the people who supported her basically went off to support Haley Stevens because at least she was representing the real deal, which was the no, I'm going to be against Abdul.
Okay.
So I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. But I appreciate what you're saying. I don't know if I necessarily. I'd have to think about it more, but I do think that there's a space for soft. I don't think that people have to be as hard as I do on these things. I wish that they would be a little harder, especially Josiah and Pisco. Kyla,
Oh yeah, especially Josiah.
Kyla's doing fine. Kyla's okay. Kyla's doing her
Yeah.
thing, right? Leave Kyla alone, okay? Leave her alone. But Josiah and Pisco, yeah, I wish it'd be a little harder than they are.
Especially
but
Josiah with
I just
800,000 subscribers.
I just reject your characterization of them as cowards. It's just not true. But thank you for calling in. I'm gonna let you go. Okay.
See ya.
Bye. $10 more from Doobie. You generally. Did I already read that? You generally believe the Republicans wouldn't make Destiny the Dem Party mascot if an org connected and became. I already read that. Did I miss one? Oh. Hold on. My fan funding's fucking up, gang. Why isn't it doing it? It's not showing the last, 3 super chats. I don't know. Hold on, gang. Let me see if I can. Give me 1 second. There's a way you have to do this. Here we go. Doobie for $10 says, it pains me to give you money, but I appreciate the direct answer. Well, I get your money and I get your pain. That's what we call a win-win, baby. Okay. Let's see. Hello, you're live.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, what's up?
Wick, here's my problem. I am a Democrat because I grew up around racist Republicans my whole entire life. I would get invited to field parties and come to find out they were Klan recruit. It was a Klan recruitment. Happened over and over and over again. So I absolutely cannot vote for Republicans. My issue is that the left is becoming just as anti-Semitic as the right.
So I
Period.
think that
That's
to help you, I would
uncomfortable.
formulate that as, I am a Democrat because I believe in equality and racial justice and justice for minority groups. That's a positive thing that you don't have to mention Republicans. You don't have to mention the far left. You can say, I'm a Democratic voter because I believe the Democrats uphold equality and justice for minority groups in a way. Yeah, you just end it there. Yeah.
I understand that. But now, these days, the left is anti Semitic, just as anti Semitic as the right. And I cannot suss that. That is not my party. I cannot and will not be a part of that.
I understand.
I don't know how to get around that.
That's why we're trying to make sure that we purge the anti-Semitism from the Democratic Party and don't let them have a foothold in here.
How do I do that in a deep red state?
Ah.
I mean, my
How do you do
district,
that in a deep
my
red state? So first of
my
all,
85% Trump, dude.
I
Neither
don't
Hillary
know.
nor Kamala broke 10%.
Yeah, I think that one of the things you do is, A, continue to vote because it does matter. Even if you had asked me 10 years ago if Georgia would ever go blue, I would have laughed at you, right? Georgia had been red for a long, long time, and is something that I just kind of saw as inevitable. But it through hard work, organizing, continuously getting out there by Democrats on the ground, getting out people to the polls, doing the work, these things really pushed so that now Georgia sometimes votes blue. Texas is getting there. I hope this is.
I love Tallarico.
Yeah,
and
I
all
hope
these
this is the
people all
season.
up in arms about AES. Forget about AES. Donate to Tallarico.
Good
Stop
guy.
focusing on him. Focus on Tallarico. He's doing amazing things down in Texas.
Yes.
He's who we should be exemplifying.
Here's a problem is like this kind of thing takes years. And if you want to, even in a deep red state, support democratic values that you want, it's going to take time. And it's going to take a lot of time and effort and energy. And like one thing you can do now is participate in the discussion, right? We do have some small influence over the direction of our party. And make your voice heard, make your voice known, as you're doing now, coming up and taking a stand, drawing a line, saying, I will not caucus, I will not be in a coalition with anti-Semites. And use your influence that you have and your voice to make that known and draw that line and hold that standard. I think that's very fair.
I have a huge issue trying to act like these DSA people are Democrats when they're not Democrats.
Yeah.
They won't call themselves
look,
Democrats.
You're preaching to the choir. I agree.
So how am I supposed to break bread with these people?
Don't.
They're not on my team. They're on their own
break bread
team.
with them.
They're their own.
That's been my advocacy. Don't break bread for them. Make sure that they know that they're not on your side. They're not your ally. You're not in a coalition with them. They can vote for your candidate if they like, but you aren't
And suffer the
going to
consequences
be-
if they don't, right? Like we did with Trump.
I mean, look, you can't control at the end of the day. Like you can persuade if you want, but if their demand is to be in the coalition as an anti-Semite, then you say no, even if it costs you their vote. And by doing that, it will make it so moderates are more comfortable coalitioning with you, because a lot of people are not just uncomfortable coalitioning with anti-Semites, they're uncomfortable coalitioning with people who are willing to coalition with anti-Semites.
And it seems to
Yeah,
me
it's a
that the
problem.
DSA is made entirely of anti-Semites. It seems like their one rallying cry is Israel, and that's it. They say, "Oh, we just want free healthcare." You're not going to find a Democrat who's against some form of universal
DSA
healthcare
has
nowadays.
a host of issues that I have problems with. Their support of Fidel fucking Castro, right? And
Right?
other authoritarian regimes. They're wanting to cape for like Marxist Leninists are like the biggest coalition within the DSA, right? It's a real problem.
Right.
Anti-Semitism is also a problem that they have. But it's something that there's just so many reasons to reject the DSA. It doesn't give us votes. It really doesn't get us past the goalpost.
It runs a risk
just doesn't work.
of kicking people like me out of the coalition.
Yeah, I understand. No, I feel
That's
you. I
the
feel
issue.
you. Because I want viewers.
Because I'll admit straight up, I rescinded my Democratic Party affiliation this year.
Yeah, I wish you had
due to
but
the
I understand.
DSA.
I understand.
This was the first ballot I ever cast where I didn't vote for any candidates. All I got were the ballot issues,
yeah.
the local issues.
So
I've never had a ballot like that before
until
this year because of these DSA fucks.
I want to kind of highlight this and let people know, right, that this is what it will happen if you continue to coalition with DSA. Is more and more people like Headless Chicken here will simply say we want nothing to do with you and leave the party. And it's going to be more than you gain by coalitioning with the DSA. And I'm telling you this as a warning because I want Headless Chicken to feel comfortable in my coalition. I want someone like Headless Chicken who feel comfortable voting for Democrats again. I want him back. I don't want to scare him away. And look, his ask isn't out of line. He's asking, hey, reject anti-Semitism, reject authoritarianism, reject communism. These aren't big, strong asks that I have to throw anyone under the bus to do.
That's just America.
Yeah, it's just a fucking American shit. So, I don't know. Anyway, thank you for calling in.
That's where I'm at.
No,
I'm struggling with it, but I'm keeping my eye out. We'll see how it goes.
Well, I hope we win so that you can come back, okay? I'll talk to you later, man.
Amen, sir.
Bye. Hello, you're live.
What's up, bro?
Oh, you know. Living life?
I do. How's Lola?
She's having a time of her life, okay? She's just laying there. Just kind of hanging out.
I was wondering, it seems like nobody really cares much about like the fact of the matters anymore, and we're so like electoral brained right now, which is fine to think about electoral stuff, but I don't know, like there's nobody debates anything anymore other than like electoral stuff.
Well, we're having a debate on great replacement theory tomorrow.
Oh, cool. I'm sorry.
I don't know what you want me to do. This is it's election season. Of course, elections
you're good.
are going to be my focus right now. So
I'm very happy that you're doing the loaner box soy pill debate, because that's just something that we've had to give on. That's just like if you could take one topic to get rid of in political discourse, I mean, my choice would be Israel. Easy. Think of how different our political landscape would look if that wasn't even a factor. I would say, yeah, it shouldn't be.
Look, if you want to know what that looks like, look at 2022.
Yeah.
Look at 2022. October 7th happened, and then everyone started to make it their issue. It brain broke a lot of people. So if you want to know what would our political discourse look like when it comes to the left and the far left and things like that, just look at 2022. So.
It feels to me like, actually, I need to think about that more. Yeah, I'm glad you're doing it. I don't envy Soy Pill because he's either gonna have to be honest and like probably lose a huge chunk of his audience, but
look, I will say this.
Yeah, I don't know.
I will
Mhm.
have I will donate a lot of money to help Soy Pill out if he comes in, looks at the research, and honestly comes to a conclusion and say, gang, I was fucking wrong about this. I don't think it was a genocide. I don't think it was this. I don't think it was that. He doesn't even have to go that far, right? He could say, I still think it's a genocide, but I think it was overblown by the X, Y, and Z, right? Like, just a substantive being able to look at the facts of the matter, as you said, and come to a conclusion that is fundamentally different than the one he had before. Because I think the one he had before was ill-informed and just wrong. And I think that demonstrating the ability to do that with all that social pressure surrounding him and all that audience pressure surrounding him, if he's able to do that, two things will happen. One, the content won't be as great for me, and that will suck. But two, we're going to need to support that man, okay? We're going to need to really support him and help him through. Start watching his shows religiously, all these things, really boost him, because you're right. His audience is going to eat him.
There's no incentive for anybody.
They're going to call him
really
the house N-word too. He's going to be
there's
like,
no incentive for anybody.
You are also the house N-word, right? So
if I were Lonerbox, I would have just called his mod the hard R. That's just what I would have done.
Just dropped it. Dropped it right there.
Yeah, fuck it. Like Lonerbox, dude, I feel so bad for him.
I do.
He spends so much time researching and everything, and one trip to the promised land with the devil, and now nobody cares about what he has to say. But
sad day.
Yeah, I agree. If if Soy Pill wants to like re-examine everything, yeah, but like it's just going to be an endless harassment against him, and yeah.
Well, it's a hard ask. Okay, it's a hard ask to have someone look at what's happening to people like Lonerbox and say, "Oh, I'm going to do that too," right? Like, because I don't think you guys understand how bad it gets. Like, I wasn't the old, like, you guys remember my snarking or whatever? I wasn't the only target. Lonerbox, Hutch, and a couple others were up there too. And they were getting constantly, right? Constantly. And I think till this day you can see it, right? And again, like, even just having that anti-Semitism discussion, because Lonerbox took the stance he did. You have Soy Pill's chat calling him a race traitor. It's insane. Yeah, people don't want that. People don't want to deal with that. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, glad you're doing it. So take care.
See ya. Okay, one more, then I think we are gonna wrap it up for the evening. Okay. Let's see what he has to say. Hello, you're live.
Hi there.
Hi.
So I'm not an American, as you can probably tell. But I was wondering if you guys were aware of this whole DSA stuff about the British example that happened a few decades ago. I think it might be useful.
70s and 80s and stuff?
Yeah, if you're familiar with it, I won't go over it, but like I think it's a pretty good example of the dangers.
I read a couple articles on it. There was an article in The Atlantic that was released on this just a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
But tell my audience about it. Go ahead.
So the very short form version of it is that in the 1970s and 80s, the Labour Party in Britain, which is the sort of left of centre party, went through a huge identity crisis, and half the party, well, a substantial number of the party, including all the trade union backed stuff, wanted to really head more in the socialist direction rather than the sort of social democrat version, which is kind of like, if we take this broadly to mean social democrats being like people who like capitalism and just want to do kind of left of center stuff, welfare state stuff, but we don't want to go crazy into the like right wing super free market stuff. There was a massive civil war over this, and it took like 20 years. And because of the unique way that the Labour Party was constituted, the socialists were able to basically put themselves into greater and greater positions of power inside the party and take over more and more and more of it. And even though the elected officials, elected by the public, um, had all of the quote unquote power, they were still muzzled in effect by these like hardcore people in the sort of socialist end. And it made the party largely unelectable for like 20 years of like either mediocre results or just straight out and out like colossal defeats. And it wasn't until, every time they would lose, they would double down and double down and double down. It was like it was never enough. It was always the, well, true socialism has never been tried. And so it took them a long time until finally Neil Kinnock came to the fore and slowly, through a lot of work, was able to detoxify the party and pull it more towards the center. And then we ended up with like slowly getting back into power and having like one of the most successful British prime ministers of all time, Tony Blair, who had a massive premiership. Obviously, there are problems with that too, but like
Sure.
it
Yeah.
the point is that these people don't have to be winning elections in order to be a massive fucking problem.
I agree.
They can make a party largely unelectable by talking really strange shit and weirding everyone out in the electorate.
People call
that's
it
all.
like optics matter in these things. And if people
Yeah.
see someone as the de facto representative of a group, the group will be held responsible for what that person says and does. And one of the worries I have about Hasan is that MAGA is obviously trying to make Hasan Piker the de facto influencer of the Democratic Party, the face of the Democratic Party, the face of the candidates, right? And a lot of people are, for whatever reason, trying to help that to happen on the left. And unfortunately, we have to deal with that. And we have to deal with that reality because if they successfully put Hasan as representative of the Democrats as a whole, we are going to lose.
Yeah, and the stuff that I was talking about was before social media, right?
Yeah.
Where you could have crazy fucks in like Manchester or Liverpool or wherever saying unconscionable things in like general party meetings, but that wasn't really going to get reported in the press as it gets clipped and shipped and uploaded in like 5 seconds flat now, and then does serious damage to like local elections and races. And
Yep.
like even if it doesn't like filter through and actually like make someone mad, it still sits in their brain and they still have these like colors they're thinking about the party. It's really really dangerous. It wouldn't be if it was just small disagreements, but it's not. It's massive, like
It's terrorist support,
huge things,
right? It's
yeah,
support for
exactly.
fucking terrorism.
Live in 4K on stream.
We just had an example of this a couple callers ago. Someone who's Democratic voter all their lives who says, I, for the first time, had to leave the Democratic Party because they were cozying up to all this bullshit. And we're going to see, like, we saw this with Bill Maher. Bill Maher, Democratic voter all his life, recently said, my vote's now up for grabs because of all this bullshit. James Carville said, if the Democratic Party becomes represented by Hasan Piker, I cannot be part of the Democratic Party anymore. And James Carville's fucking Democratic operative for years, decades, his whole fucking life, right? If people like this are saying that, there's a whole bunch of people who you do not hear from who are also thinking that. And it's going to continue to be a problem. But they don't, look, my thing is that a lot of these people, they don't actually care as long as they get their influence within their little small pond, right? They want to be the big fish in the small pond.
Exactly.
And
Like
it's a problem.
Neil Kinnock has this amazing quote where he said that like Neil Kinnock was the Labour Party leader that like fixed a lot of this stuff. And he said, there are some people inside the British Labour Party that were more obsessed with winning power inside the Labour Party than winning power for the Labour Party.
Absolutely.
And that's the big fucking issue.
I agree. And it's a cautionary tale, and we should do well to heed it. But I fear that there are a lot of influences in the Democratic Party who just don't want to hear that message. They need to. I say that, but I do have hope because more and more and more Democratic operatives are coming out and saying, hey, we don't want anyone anywhere near Hasan to be anywhere near Hasan. So
Yeah, because although Bill Maher is a weirdo and has been a weirdo for quite a long time, he used to be the guy who would always talk shit about Republicans, but
Yep.
that would then go on to like talk weirdly about like flu vaccines. So he's always been kind of weird, but you have to remember a lot of voters are just as fucking weird. So you do have to take what they think seriously. You can't just like debate bro them out of it and say, well, that's illogical. No, they are going to get weirded out by this. It matters.
And again, like, you can't blame anyone for not wanting to be in a party with anti-Semites. You just can't.
No,
Like,
yeah.
Okay, no, that's a reasonable thing, right? We're not talking anti-vaxxers or anything. Like, no, you don't want to be in a party with someone who praises the USSR? No, I get it. Okay, that's fair. Anyway, thank you for calling in, sir. I appreciate you.
No problem. Thanks for taking the time to talk to me. Thank you.
Bye-bye. What a day, what a day. Wow, look at this. Look at all you viewers. Is there nothing else going on in your lives? I don't know. Well, no, thank you. Thank you. I shouldn't say that. Thank you for being here. I do appreciate you guys for tuning in, for turning me on, and for watching the show, for donating. For those of you who donated, it really does help. Okay, it really does help. I'm looking into improving my setup here. I do need a better wick camera. Oh, you DM'd me the clip? Let's look at that real quick. You DM'd it to me? Is it times to 1829? Okay, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Let's see if this sucks, I'm gonna be very angry, but let's give it a try. Hold on. Let's give it a go. 1829. Here, I can't see the. Hold on, let me. So I can see the thing a little better. 1824 is close enough. Okay, let's watch, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, I can't see anything. I can't hear anything. I'm the dumbest person in the country. Follow the money. Oh, Donald Trump got over $300 million from the Adelsons, which an Israeli family, and then has said in public that he moved our embassy for them, gave them our foreign policy and let them dictate it because of the money he received from the Israeli lobby. That's obvious to every person that knows the facts. But all of our reporters lie in unison. So Anna, it is worse than you're saying. Like, and today.
No, it's more. It's worse. It is.
There is one piece of hope. I'll get to that in a second.
No, there is no hope. There is no political solution.
That's our disagreement.
There is no political solution. You got mealy-mouthed Democratic candidates who pretend like they're fighters, and then they cower at the first sign of trouble from the freaking establishment mob. Okay, I'm sick of it, and they should be called out for it. Again, if you don't want the heat, then don't campaign with a Twitch streamer who says edgy things.
I mean, I agree. Don't campaign with the Twitch streamer because you should not want this heat. It is electoral suicide. There's no political solution. There's no. Let's go back.
But all of our reporters lie in unison. So Anna, it is worse than you're saying. Like, and today.
No, it's more. It's worse. It is.
There is one piece of hope. I'll get to that in a second.
No, there is no hope. There is no political solution.
That's our disagreement.
There is no political solution. You got mealy-mouthed Democratic candidates who pretend like they're fighters, and then they cower at the first sign of trouble from the freaking establishment mob. Okay, I'm sick of it, and they should be called out for it. Again, if you don't want the heat.
Is she mad because people are disavowing Hasan Piker? Is that what they call? Is that why she's saying that they're cowering to the mob that doesn't like anti-Semitism and terrorist support? Right? No, motherfucker, you should cower before us. Cower before us. Kneel before Zod. Okay, right? Cower. Yeah, you should be afraid. We don't like anti-Semites. We don't like terrorism. We don't like terrorist supporters. What do you mean there's no political solution? What are you calling for exactly? What are you saying? Well, we're going to give it another minute, see if she clarifies.
Then don't campaign with a Twitch streamer who says edgy things because he needs to carry an audience and needs to entertain an audience. Like, I just don't understand.
Bro, you can entertain an audience without supporting terrorism. You can entertain an audience without attacking the Jews. You can entertain audiences in a lot of ways without once supporting terrorism. What do you mean? He has to support terrorism. His audience demands it. What are we talking about?
And it's, again, worse than you think.
Aside from that, let me just please make my point, okay? When I say that there's no political solution, this is what I mean. The establishment in both parties are not going to allow any change. They think that they can keep the scam going and everything's gonna be okay. The Democratic establishment thinks we could just keep playing the same games we've been playing for literally freaking decades, being the losers that we are who accomplish.
We had 2008 to 2016, some of the best economy that we've had in America, some of the most progress we've had in America. We got the Affordable Care Act. Millions who were unable to be insured now have insurance, right? When we look at Clinton, we were able to balance the budget. We were able to do some awesome stuff foreign policy-wise. We, again, went into Yugoslavia, right? We got close to peace with the Oslo Accords and things like that in the Middle East. We were able to tamp down on crime, reduce it by a ton, right? It's, again, for decades, we've been improving as a nation. It hasn't been perfect. There's been some setbacks. The Iraq War and Afghanistan, or the Iraq War specifically, was a mistake, not the Afghanistan War. I have different feelings on that. The Iraq War specifically was a mistake, a boondoggle we should never gotten into. But, like, to act as if, like, we've been losing for decades, it's just not true. Democrats have won a lot in this country. So, yes, if you are ignorant about what has been done for the last few decades, then maybe this stance makes sense. But I'm not sure. And what do you mean the established won't allow it? This is one of the things you have in America. You have the power of your vote. And you can vote for your representatives to go into office and to get shit done based on these things that you vote for. If the establishment won't allow something, it's because the voters won't allow it. The voters are stopping you, Anna, not the establishment. Or insofar as it is the establishment, it's the establishment voters who are stopping you. And good, you should be stopped. You're crazy.
Absolutely nothing for our voters. And then when voters finally realize what I've realized at this point, there is no political solution. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen when the people don't feel listened to?
What do you think's going to happen, Anna? What do you think's going to happen?
When they see the disgusting schemes that these freaking, this dinosaur, Neera Tanden, this freaking dinosaur, bitch, what are you doing? Why are you still around? You are a loser. You are a loser. People loathe you. Maybe not your establishment friends, but the people, Democratic voters, loathe you. But she's still here. She's still here, muddying the waters, playing these little games, helping a Republican win a Senate seat in Michigan. So for Democratic voters who don't get it yet, they don't care about you.
Who are they talking about?
People like Neera Tanden couldn't care less if Mike Rogers wins that Senate seat. In fact, she would.
Neera Tanden has done more for the Democratic Party than you ever have. Has done more to oppose MAGA than you ever have. Anna, you are MAGA light at this point. Neera Tanden's a fucking hero, okay? And she's standing on principle and trying to save this party from people like you who are trying to tie it to anti-Semitism and terrorist support, who would let MAGA rule for the next fucking 1,000 years, lose every single right that we have been hard fought to win, have a rollback of the ACA because they're making fun of a Twitch streamer that you happen to be friends with and like, because they happen to have different foreign policy positions than you do. And here you are saying this populist brain rot shit that there's no political solution. And what do you think's going to happen? Well, what if you stopped talking like this and started actually doing things that would get shit done instead of just saying, oh, if you don't do what we say, there's going to be violence in the streets, which is what you're implying here. This is what you're actually saying, is if we don't get our way, we're going to throw a fucking tantrum and be violent, right? That's what you're saying, that there's no political solution, that this is inevitable. Okay, Tim Pool, calm your tits, okay? That's insane. You're fucking insane. Jesus. Now I'm angry. Again. Ugh. I'm just tired. Okay? I am exhausted about having to deal with these populist crazies. People who've lost their damn mind. Okay? And they have, because of their frustration that voters won't do what they think is best, decide to use this language that is dangerous about how there's no political solution. If you tell people, okay, Anna, what do you think happens? Listen to me. Okay, Anna, if you ever watch my show, not that you're smart enough to be able to figure out how to come to my channel, but in case you are, right? Watch, look at me. What do you think is going to happen when you keep telling people that there's no political solution, that there's no way to cast your vote and make changes? Most likely what will happen, and this is best case, okay, right? Most likely people will vote less. They'll say, why bother? It doesn't matter anyway. There is no political solution. I'm not going to vote because why bother? That's the good ending on that path, by the way. The bad ending on this path is that people say there's no political solution, so we're going to have to do something. We're going to have to make our voices heard otherwise in a explosive manner or a violent manner. And that's going to make everything worse for everyone, right, left, and center. Political violence has no place in American politics. There are political solutions to the problems that you see. The problem you're having is no one wants your fucking solutions because no one wants to support terrorism. No one wants to be anti-Semitic. No one wants that shit. We care about what's in our pocketbooks, right? We care about our safety, our children's safety, our family's safety. We care about supporting democracy around the world, in Ukraine, right? In Taiwan. We care about liberalism and liberal values, being able to have pluralism, free trade, to be able to speak our minds without worried about being censored and things like that. No one gives a shit that you don't like Chuck Schumer or Neera Tanden or all these people who, again, Chuck Schumer is guiding us to political victory in a way that we haven't seen in a long time, right? We're headed toward win like a huge majority in the House and flip the Senate. That's huge. And Chuck Schumer's helping to make that happen. If it does happen, he is going to be responsible for it. You are going to have to thank Chuck Schumer for his service. So stop. Stop it. Stop telling people that there's no political hope, that there's no political solution. We need people to go out and to vote. And God forbid other people with violent tendencies take you seriously. Okay. I kind of hate you for sending me that clip. $5 from another American to say, always a pleasure, Wick. What's your suggestion to appeal to leftists and defeat the DSA scourge? I think that just reminding people that the successes Democrats have had is when we go out, work together to vote, and reminding people that you do not want to give the government the power to silence your voice. You don't want to give the government the power to make these sweeping changes, and just remind them that liberalism does make our lives better, and it can continue to make our lives better. We're not done improving things. We're not done making things more affordable. We're not done building homes so that homes are affordable again. We're not done with these things. We're only just getting started. But we need political power to make the changes that we need in order to get these things accomplished. And the way we do that in America is by voting. So go out and vote for us. Right? We'll get things done. Okay. I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern. Great replacement debate between Stardust and Streamrift. I love you all. $10 from Per Thompson. As almost always a great show. Thanks, Wick. No, they can't all be bangers. Okay, they can't all be winners. But today was good. I liked today. Okay. I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.